Hey, friends. So there was an audio problem while we were recording this, and there's really bad reverb on my audio, not Nicole's. So I've gone through and I've taken out my audio. You'll see captioning in place of my audio, and you'll see me moving without making sounds, but it was just so bad, I couldn't edit it out. So I just wanted to give you that note. Don't adjust your audio. Everything's okay. And I hope you enjoy this entire video. You should be able to hear Nicole fine. It was just my audio not working. Thank you.
It's a tongue twister. Pardon? It's a tongue twister. Sure. Hi, everyone. So as Sean said, I'm Nicole Axemet. I did just launch a Substack called The Thick Thrift Diaries. My background is in journalism. I've been a journalist my whole life, mostly in the food space and the health space. I was a former editor-in-chief of All Recipes magazine, and I currently freelance as a content person of all stripes, marketing and editorial work. And I launched my Substack because I am on a little bit of a journey. I've lost about 70 pounds in the last year for my own health. And I also am suddenly and pleasantly surprised to find plus sizes in thrift stores. I've been thrifting my whole life um, for mostly for clothes, or not for clothes, but for furniture and for home decor because I love mid century modern things. Um, but I've long sort of turned away from the thrift stores for clothing because the racks sort of stopped around 12 or 14 and that never fit me. So there is a little renaissance happening right now, though, in the clothing market, just because there are so many people who are moving through weight changes quickly, and there's just more clothes about in circulating. And so, anyway, I've been having a really good time thrifting my way to a better wardrobe as my body continues to change sizes. And that means the questions of fit come up quite a lot. So, the whole impetus for this chat was Sean and I were talking about fit. And I was talking a little bit about a few things that I've been learning and doing with some of my own clothes that have been helpful to help me extend the life of clothes that I love that are really just a little too big for me. But it's also coming in handy when I'm at a thrift store and I'm trying on something that I just love, but the fit's not quite right. And I can kind of be a better judge of whether or not it's fixable for me. If I can make a small alteration that'll make it work and make that score really a score for me and not just something I brought home and then kind of never wear because it doesn't fit. So,
Right.
And I really appreciate this because it's handy not only when your body is changing sizes and you might not be a full size different, but you're kind of in between and you need like a little tweak, or maybe you're a little shorter and you need to adjust. Just our bodies aren't all uniform. We don't all fit the same models that clothes are designed on.
right. Sure. I mean, that's just it is like, I think that's a good thing to remember whenever you're trying on clothes is that um, the imagined customer for this article of clothing is no match for your unique body. Our especially as women, our shapes are so different. Um, we have, some of us are broader here than here, or we have a little more hip, or we have a little more booty, or there's just so much variety in our shape. So you can be between sizes all the time, even if you're not moving sizes, just because you have a unique shape. that the market maybe doesn't exactly, at least every designer isn't designing for you. So I do think this comes up quite a lot. Also, if you are on a weight journey, whether you're gaining weight or muscle building muscle, or you're losing weight due to injury or illness, or intentional weight loss, whatever that is, even clothes that fit you at a similar previous weight might not hang the same way now because we don't blow up like a balloon and shrink like a balloon all over all at the same time. So um, things might hang and fit just a little bit differently, and that's completely normal body image. And so you're going to have to adjust your clothes a little bit to fit you.
I think that's a valid point too. I think a lot of people keep older clothes hoping to be able to wear them again. And then our bodies change. Like we don't go back to the same shape. Age changes us, different,
Oh yeah,
life stages.
things are not exactly where they always were.
And this is just a great way to get more value out of your clothes.
Sure. So I thought it might be helpful to talk about there's some things you just like it's too hard to fix yourself, but I wanted to talk about things that are sort of easy for people who don't sew. You don't have to be a sewer. I do have some sewing background. I grew up with a mom who is a great seamstress, and I did some sewing in my youth, and I do own a sewing machine. But I will say I don't love sewing, and I do not go get my sewing machine unless it's like a curtain needs hemming. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to give some ideas that are helpful for most people, even if you don't sew. If you can do a straight stitch, just a few little stitches that nobody will see, you can do a lot of these things, and some of them don't require sewing at all. Um, I will say there for just a couple of caveats. I think the tips I have are probably going to be most handy when your clothes are a little too big somewhere versus a lot too big or all over. Um, and I find that they help probably best when an item is within a couple dress sizes of your current size, or generally less than about 4 inches too big. If it's a whole lot more than that, you're just going to have extra fabric to deal with. And that does require either a bigger plan for alteration that might involve a tailor or a seamstress, or that might be a better candidate to send back out into the thriftist sphere for someone else who is that size right now to look.
Definitely. Do you want to start with maybe some no sew things that we can do?
Sure. Okay. So I brought some examples here. I couldn't fit you into my closet, but I brought some of my closet to the office today. One of the things that surprised me a lot is how much changing a strap can make a dress that you used to love still fit. So this one, this is a this is a torrid dress from last spring. I bought it at probably my heaviest weight in my life. I love it. I love the pattern. It's just a little swingy number. It's great. And it fit me when I bought it. And when I found it in my closet this spring and tried it on, I thought, oh no. Like it still had the tags on it. I really had got it at the end of the season, so I hadn't worn it at all. Still had the tags on. It's a Torrid 3. And the straps were situated like this. And that's how it had fit me before. So I put it on, and now suddenly the bodice is halfway down my chest, and there's a whole lot more volume there than I needed. It just wasn't. I thought, I'm gonna have to take this back. But fortunately, it has adjustable straps, and taking this up about I don't know, it's probably about 6 inches that I cut out of there by zipping it right up, and at this length, it's now where it needs to be on my chest. You don't think about like the volume of your back and your shoulders and that part of you, like the circumference that might change. And so now it sits right. It also fortunately has elastic in it around the top edge. So that helps it stay a little more fitted around where it might otherwise be too big. But again, no sew, really just a strap adjustment. So don't throw your dresses out first, especially if it's a flowy dress. Like it's meant to have a little wiggle, right? But if you just adjust the strap, that can make a huge difference. Um, I did make one other alteration to this dress that involved a tiny bit of sewing, and that's this part right here. Sorry, I know it's hard to see on here, but the bodice has a little bit of a gathering right here in the middle. And it felt like it was just about 2 inches too long when I on my current chest. So since there's gathering there already, um, I felt like I could accomplish a very easy hand sew here. And all I did was take my favorite friend here is pre-threaded needle sewing kit that you can get at the dollar store. This is my no excuses for not tailoring this myself kit. Um, because for some reason I get hung up at threading the needle and finding the thread and all that stuff. But if I have this in my uh, closet, I will definitely pull it out and use it. So I grabbed this. I pulled out white string, which seemed to be, or thread, which seemed to be the best. And I just kind of gathered the gathers together a little bit more. And I sewed a little basting stitch in there, just in and out and in and out. You can't tell. I can tell from the inside. I can see they're not pretty, but they're there, just a few little stitches. What's great about this is that'll hold up. Held up to 2 washes already with no issues. And if I decide that at some point that this is really too big and it needs to go back into the thrifting universe or for someone else to love, it's really easy to I make one snip of my scissors I cut off the knot that I made in my thread. I pull that one little thread out, and this dress is back to being as flexible as it needs to be in full size for someone who needs a 3. So anyway, that's just one example. So straps are a good place to start. I also there are other ways to shorten straps if they're not adjustable. And there are other kinds of adjustable straps. So I don't know, some of the summer dresses I've seen in the last couple of years have had buttonholes and buttons so that you can actually adjust the length of the back. It depends on where you button it. So try a tighter button. You can also, if they come off like that, I have one dress that's kind of like that. And even at the furthest buttonhole, it's still too long. I actually tied a knot in the strap, right toward the back, and then I buttoned it. And it's got there's a little extra fabric back there, but it fits me still, and I can still wear it for a little bit longer. And again, I didn't make a permanent change to the garment. I can untie it, and it will go back to its regular aesthetic for the next lovely customer. So that's one other way. You can also actually gather if it's just a fixed strap. You can also kind of pull it down again, fit it on your shoulder, feel where it feels right, pull the excess down behind, and kind of just tack it to the back with a couple of pins, take it off, and then just do a couple quick stitches to anchor it there. Same idea. You've made it shorter for you. The excess of the strap can just hang back there. No one will ever see it. It's inside. And again, if you ever want to change it again or alter it back to its original state, it's just a couple of snips and one pull of the thread, and you're back to the regular shape and size. So I have some other tips for that, but I'll get into those on my Substack tomorrow. I've got a little bit more in depth about that.
That's cool.
But don't discount your strappy, flowy dresses. They're a really good candidate for continuing to uh, adapt with you.
And those would work with like tank tops, maybe.
Yeah, they'll work with tank tops too. It does depend a little bit on whether the garment is intentionally flowy or because that doesn't fix everything, right? It moves things up. It shortens the distance from the back to the front. You still might have, if it's many sizes too big and the garment doesn't have some stretch in it already, you might have excess under the arms still. So it's a judgment call, but I think you can look at an item that has straps and go, okay, I'm just going to try this tighter, and does that work? Even before you ever make a stitch or pin anything, just pull it up and see what it does for you. And if that solves it, then that's a very easy fix. So that would help me. That would help me also choose if I'm in a dressing room and I found a pattern I just love, but the dress was just a little too big, I would just be like, well, what if I just took up this? I can do that. It will take me 2 minutes and I don't have to thread a needle.
I feel like the older I got, the smaller the needle eyes.
Right. You're like, which,
Um, what other easy alterations can you make with not a lot of sewing or any sewing?
yeah. Well, so I know you have a blouse
I do. I brought it.
that you're talking about. And I fear a little bit that your blouse is maybe too big for this, but so first off, does it fit you in the shoulder?
No, it doesn't. It kind of does, but like the arms are. This is probably a candidate for considering the alteration because the arms are really big.
Mm-hmm.
But it just hangs over the shoulder.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say that's so when I'm looking at blouses or tops, that's one of the things I would look for. If it fits you well in the shoulder and in the armholes, which are important and kind of a pain to reconstruct, then that's probably, and it's maybe too big just here, or it's too long in the sleeve or something. Like those are easier alterations than if you need to like literally take material out and redo the armholes. So it might be a little bit much for that one. And plus, I think you said that was like a 16 and you're an 8 now.
And
So,
now I'm an 8.
so that's 16, 14, 12, 10. It's about 5 sizes too big for you. Um, so again, I think that might be one that's, but that said, I wanted to ask you what you love about this shirt because that also might help us decide what to do with it.
I love colors and the polka dot. And this shirt's been discontinued, so it's not like I can go buy a smaller one.
Okay. Is it a very was it a splurge buy? Is it an expensive item?
It is. This was, I want to say $170 when I bought it. Yes.
Girl, you rich. You you got rich to this. No, so that was my next question is a little bit about how much have you invested in this piece and is it really valuable to you? And in that case, and if you can't replace it, um, in that case, it might be a good candidate to get it tailored. Or it could be a good candidate to, again, return to the thrift-osphere. You could probably, if it's a high-end item and it's in good condition, you could probably get some of your money back and use that toward the purchase of another shirt that you love.
Yeah.
If it were a less expensive item, or maybe slightly less, had less of a resale value, I think the other thing you could think about is if it's the pattern and the color you love, could you harvest some fabric out of it to make yourself a scarf with that? So maybe you could take the back, cut out the back. I also can't tell what fabric it is.
It's silk.
Oh God. Okay, so it's silk. Oh, which would be lovely as a scarf.
Yeah.
You would need to do some finishing to the end. You could probably do a little hand fraying of a rough edge and spray it with spray check. But you got to be able to cut straight. And silk is a little finicky for sewing. But you could harvest a scarf out of it. The other thing you could do, if again you just want to hang on to it a little longer, is try some tricks and tips with like tying it. So you put it on and you tie the bottom to make a different shape. Which
Kind of 70s style.
yeah, 70 styles will cinch it in a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to show you a shirt I have that has a different need. This is a thrift find I found. I love this. It's got these beautiful balloon sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
But this is not its original front. This is what I like to call the bangle and hair tie trick.
I brought a bangle.
Okay, good. We could try it on your shirt too. I'm
Okay.
gonna say for a button-down shirt, your options, you probably want to do it at the back of your shirt instead of the front. But what the bangle does, I'm taking my bangle out here. Actually, this one I used a scarf clip or a scarf ring. But look at your bangle and know that the amount of fabric you will be able to take out of your garment is about the width of that bangle twice,
Okay.
left and right, and the width of that bangle twice up and down. So that's
Okay.
how much you're going to suck out of the fabric by doing this. But what you do is, and I sort of undid this one so you could see it, but you put the bangle or the scarf clip on top of the fabric where you think you'd like the gathering to happen. And then you reach around from the back side and you put a little hair tie. You gather it up around that and you put a little hair tie around it. So here I've
Bring a hair tie.
okay, well, here's the idea. So you just wrap it around the back. So now you've got this little, used a big fluffy hair tie. You've got this little kind of button on the back of it now. But when I turn it back around, and you can also, I didn't do it perfectly straight, but you turn it back around, you've got a little gathering there. What's great is that the whole purpose of the bangle or whatever you could use I suppose you could use the lid of a yogurt container. I'm thinking of those little Noosa lids or something. Ideally, it's something that's smooth and that won't snag your clothes. But the idea is that it holds that fabric flat at the back, and it makes. You could just do this with a hair tie too, right? But it's more likely to slip off, and it's also going to leave this weird lump behind your clothes. But this lays very flat, and when you look through, if you see anything at all through the middle of that gather, you shouldn't, but you could if it was really big. All you'll see is more of the same front side of the fabric. So, but this does quite a lot for a shirt like this. It takes out volume and it also gives a little interest, and you can move this around. So maybe you don't want it right at your chest. You could do it down here in the corner, have a kind of side tuck. That works very well on dresses too. I think when you and I were originally talking about it, I showed you this dress. This is a Nina Leonard dress that I fell in love with. It's very nice, but even when I bought it, it was a little too big, and I'm 10 pounds lighter than when I bought it. So it's a little too big. It's a stretchy fabric, but I love the colors and I love the pattern. And I realized when I got it home and tried it on that it also it's a lot on my boobs. It's a whole lot right there. So this is one that I also did that gathering with. And something like that's a pattern like this, it's going to change the look of the pattern. But it can do that in a cool way too. So I'm going to just do this one while we chat with a bigger bangle. Okay. So here, again, all I've done here is it's the back side of the dress. That's a hair tie right there. And I have totally made a very different front.
Yeah.
Do you see it? So the fabric, in addition to taking out the fabric, it does change the shape a little bit of a dress like this. But to me, that was a good advantage because these ladies needed a focal point. So that was helpful. But yeah, that's another one. I kind of love the bangle hair tie trick. Highly recommend. For your shirt, did you want to try it at the back? Okay. Sure. Again, I feel like that one on you looks like it has more than 6 inches to lose.
It does.
So it might not be quite enough to be remarkable, but again, if we don't want to cut it apart and sew it, and I certainly wouldn't want to cut apart a beautiful silk shirt. That is probably a good candidate for.
I was going to ask, is this a good candidate to take to a seamstress or a tailor and say, hey, can you make it? Or
I mean,
tighten up the sleeve.
Yeah. I will say that remaking a shirt is fairly labor intensive. And so I don't know what the going rates for that would be, but I would guess you would not get away with less than like $75 for completely remaking the sleeve and taking out a fair amount of the sides. And I don't know if the sleeves themselves need adjustment down to the like the length, that sort of stuff. Anytime you get into taking apart a cuff and putting it back on, or taking apart the seaming that goes into, the bodice and the armhole, it's just a lot of work. And on a delicate material, you'd want a very nice seamstress to be working on it, someone who knows what they're doing. But I think that would be fairly expensive now. But if $75 means it's the shirt that you want, and it cost you less than you originally paid for it, for example, and it fits you, and it's a one of a kind because it's the only one like it now, and it can't be made again. I mean, that might be worth it to you. So it is a little bit of a judgment call for yourself. One other thing you can do that isn't sewing is tacking. So this dress that I have on right now, it's a little kind of a short wrap dress. It's a Madewell from a few years ago. It's a little big on me. And I have taken a safety pin right here, as many a curvy girl knows. You put a safety pin right here to keep it from gapping.
Done it.
So I used to have that safety pin like down here, but it's here now. And I've still got a little bit of a gap here that I've done nothing with. So I wore this out this morning. I met a friend for coffee, and I was like, this is probably not a good thing to be wearing for this chat today because it's not fitting me so well. But maybe I can demonstrate. So what I did is I took some double-sided tape and I just tacked it down. And it is so much better. I'm not pulling at it. It's not a long-term solve, but if you really don't want to sew, a safety pin and some tape can help you through the next, I would take the tape out before you wash it, but it'll take you through the day. And you can also use this to just get your positioning right. And one little, just one little pre-threaded needle and a hidden stitch that you do from the inside. Again, no one will see it, but you could just tack that down and you'll be good to go. Don't count out the safety pin. There's usually one of them in here. And double-sided tape. It's just nice for a smooth, or if you're, it's just like for a photo shoot and you're trying on clothes and they just keep gapping when you turn your body. Like that's a good way to do that too.
I've gotten like little fashion tape kits from the drugstore, like Walgreens, CVS, and I keep that. And I have different shapes. Like there's like a long strip, and then there's like purple, so it can hide in different places.
Yep. I mean, I think those are great. I feel like they sometimes charge you more because it says fashion tape. So just a regular double-sided tape. My husband keeps all the weird tapes in our house. He has a basket of weird tape, and this is one of them. So I steal his, and that works. What else? So again, there's been a little bit of minor sewing we've talked about, right? No, but again, if you have a collar that's like this shirt, this was a very recent thrift find. Oops, knocking things down. A very recent thrift find. It's a little tunic. It's my fall color, if you can't tell. And I love it. It's got some stretch. When I put it on, I felt like I was futzing with the collar quite a lot. Like it just felt like it was folding over or it was pulling apart a little. And so here again, just a very simple, you can probably see this one pretty well. I didn't have a color of thread that perfectly matched this. So but I just made myself a few little, just a very simple basting stitch so that I'm not futzing with that collar all day. And this has been through the wash and it holds its shape. And that's a very easy, again, simple sew kind of thing. That works on a lot of things. I think you get sort of used to tugging at your clothes. Like, if you find yourself tugging at your clothes, then there's probably a really tiny alteration you can do that will help that. So, just like when I altered the strap on that strappy dress and thought, oh, but the bodice feels just a little too clunky here. If you can just gather up the fabric where you are, you can also make a little dart. I think one of the other places that this happens is you'll find there's too much fabric here. I mean, this
Mhm.
particular dress is cut in such a way that it's supposed to have some volume under the arms. But if you didn't want this, you could just fold it in the way that you'd like it to be, stick a couple pins in it, take it off, and then give yourself one little straight line of stitching to hold it in place. So if you find yourself tugging at things, or if you're like, oh, I just wish this wasn't there, well, you can fix that. So, but just a couple of stitches. Yeah.
We talked also about t-shirts that are too narrow at the neck or they're too long.
Okay, so no sewing here, but you have to be cool with a raw edge. Just all you need is a scissor. So I'm one of those people who doesn't love t-shirts. I've never liked the crew neck up here.
I like V-necks too.
Something about a crew neck makes me feel choked. So you can literally cut out the collar. You can make a boat neck. You could make just a slit. Some people will just make a slit and let it fall open. The great thing about t-shirt material is that it kind of naturally rolls. If you cut it pretty straight, you'll have just a raw edge, but it'll roll. And again, depends on the look you're going for. It's a little more distressed, but you can do that to customize the neck of a shirt that's too constricting, or change the whole shape of the neck. And also the same for the bottom. If you have a shirt that's way too long, you're feeling like a crop top, go for it. You just have to, make sure you have nice sharp scissors, and probably good to like chalk it in first or mark it down first. But once you cut it, there's no sewing required. It'll just roll. The same is true for jeans, if you're okay with a distressed look. A lot of times, I think, the average American woman in the United States is 5'3", and a size 18, and it's very hard to find petite plus size clothes. So, if you find yourself with jeans that are always too long and you don't personally like hemming, or aren't going to take it to a tailor to get it hemmed, if it's a more distressed look and you're okay with that, and there are a lot of jeans that have let down hems that are raw edge now, right? So if you can make your own just by cutting it off and pulling apart at the edges of the fabric a little and letting it fray. So that's one no-sew shortening. I've just shortened my jeans without a stitch. So that's something you can try for pants or for bottoms of any sort that are too long. Just depends again on the fabric. Jeans will tolerate that fraying and not just completely come apart. Other fabrics will continue to unravel. So you have to be strategic about it. It depends a little on the fabric again. So if it's a really thick material, and you want a finished hem, if you're not comfortable doing that, which will involve cutting off a piece, sort of sealing the inner edge, rolling it, and then top stitching it, then yes, that probably is something for a tailor to do. And if the material is really thick, that's even harder to do, I think, just because when you're rolling and turning it, if you don't have a serger to wrap up the inside of that cut edge better, it can just get like the hem now is very heavy. So it does require a little more skill. Same, I think, for if it's a lighter weight material that can tolerate like an iron-on fabric tape. There are tapes that you just basically you'd put it on the inside of your pant leg, and then fold it up to the place that you want it to be, and then iron it. And the heat of the iron activates the glue, and it just folds it out. So that works well with certain materials, but not all others. So kind of need to check the tape you're using, and also check the fabric that you're using. I also find that that's not a super long-term solution. It can be a way to try it out also, to see if you like it that length, and then follow up with a quick stitch, because it's now pressed and in place. but yeah, I think that tape, it's supposed, some of it anyway is supposed to last longer through washes, but I feel like it's a little bit more of a temporary fix, and it doesn't adhere to all fabric blends the same. And there's so many blends in fabric now, so it's a little harder to do.
Before we continue, I want to invite people who are watching, if you have questions, please feel free to drop those into the chat, and we'll be happy to see if we can answer your questions. We'll try to tackle everything.
I did get one question in Substack. Someone had asked me about a pair of, let me see if I could find it. I dropped it in my notes here. Sorry, looking at the other screen.
Yeah, no worries.
I remember her name was Shell, and she mentioned she had elastic waist pants that were too big at the waist and a little roomy for the hip, and she wanted to know, can I fix that without sewing? Yes, but also I don't know what kind of fabric they are. But and I also have to look a little bit at the waistband itself to see how it's constructed. But one of the things you can do with an elastic waist pant, if it's truly elastic, like a strip of elastic that's inside sort of the loop of the waistband, you can make a little snip near a seam. So maybe the side seams inside of the waistband, pull out some of that elastic, and either pin it to a shorter length that you like, safety pin. You basically, pull it out, dump it over, make a loop of it, and snap it down in place with safety pin and let it go back in. And you've now shortened your pants. The other thing you can do if you're a little more skilled, or if the fabric's amenable to a snip and that won't come unraveled, is you can make 2 little snips at the front and replace your elastic with a drawstring waist. So I have these. I feel like I have these from dresses that I no longer wear. I keep all my string ties. Like this is maybe like a waistband for a dress, or maybe it was I don't know. It's for something I no longer own, but I have the string tie. But this is a good candidate for making a string belts, or string tie belts. You could also use like a very long shoelace, but you just in that case you would put a safety pin on the end of it to give yourself something to thread through the hole. Helps it easier to make it easier to go through, and then you come back around, and now you can adjust those pants tighter by pulling the drawstring. So that would be a suggestion. Again, depends on your level of comfort with cutting. You can also, I think, fold over the band on the outside and pin it. I just worry about that pin coming loose on you. It's elastic after all, so I wouldn't do that. And don't count out belts, friends. Belts. So it's a little hard to put this over an elastic waist pant. Depends on how much, like what you're going to see. But if you have a good belt, that can help just keep it together. And if it's elastic waist, it might be, I guess it might be kind of a flowy pant anyway. So a belt could be your friend here. And if it's really big in the thighs too, then you probably do need to do a little seaming change, but that's definitely a sewing option. And so if that's not something that you'd want to do, kind of all those considerations we went through with your shirt, Sean, it's like, is this a really valuable piece of clothing? Does it have some resale value that you are worried about damaging, or that might help you replace it with something that fits you better? Those are kind of considerations to weigh about whether you want to do that or take it to a tailor or make do for a minute. So
The things that you mentioned are the different things we can do with lightweight pants. Can we go back to jeans for a second? Because everybody, like, at least everybody I know, like we have that, like, where the jeans might fit in your hips, but then they gap in the back. Like it just depends on your booty size, but like just seems like there's never a perfect fit of booty and waist.
yes, I hear you and I praise you. So yeah, I think it depends a little bit on how your jeans are constructed, but these are a pair of cut jeans that I have that I feel like are a little too wide at the waist for me. Um, they one thing you can do, depending on where the belt loops are in the back, is you can give yourself a little bit of a cinch here by taking whether that's a string tie or a shoelace, and you can cinch that up and get yourself a couple inches out of there just by tying it like that. Of course, you got to have some comfort level with seeing this if you're exposing the back part of your jeans. Maybe it's kind of cute, actually. So you can do that. And that's a very easy thing. Also, if it's very lightweight denim, like if it's a little bit more like chambray and not thick, you can do a little dart where you're just folding over the fabric here and making a little straight stitch on the inside. But I do find that, jeans, they're thicker already. And like this piece has like 4 layers already right here. So when you fold it over, it's gonna be a little thick. Yeah, I think you can get the look right, but it might not feel so great to have that extra volume in there. So jeans are one that I think you can make these accommodations. You can definitely do a belt, which will help with that too. Just a regular belt will help with that too, because you can, it'll cinch up wherever you need it to be. So a belt's really helpful. But if it's much too big, then to me, that's a candidate for, there's so many nice jeans out there already. You could probably find another pair fit you better. And maybe this is the size that someone else is dying to find. So
And there are several companies now that they will take these back, and you can even like they'll even give you like a discount on a new pair of jeans. I think Universal Stitch does that, and then
buyback programs are great.
yeah, and there's a company called Mobi. They're Egyptian made jeans, and they do the same thing. They have like a traded in type of.
Yeah. So you have options, but I will say, like, again, there's a range. There's a range at which that works. And then if you're talking about 5 or 6 pant sizes, too big or too small, it's maybe a little beyond most people's ability, or even a very good tailor's ability to do that at a price that's maybe worth it to you. So, yeah.
I'm kind of looking at some of the other things. Uh, when is it good to call a professional? Like, when do you know, okay, there's no easy or no sew fix, or this is beyond my capability, or like, how do you even know it's a good candidate for taking to a tailor?
Right. Well, I think anything that's a little bulky, or heavily structured. So jeans or heavyweight pants that have a lining that are too big. Lined jackets, winter coats, things that have linings, and again, where the shoulder doesn't quite fit you right, but again, it's an investment piece and you want to keep it, you want it to age with you, then that might be a candidate for a tailor to take it in. When there's linings, again, that's like double the work from a seamstress perspective to like get that put back together correctly. You're cutting out 2 pieces of fabric, fitting them back together in a nice little puzzle and having them neatly align right here. So it's a little more work. Sweaters, to a degree, I think it's a little hard to tailor a sweater without unraveling it. But we didn't talk about this, but I'll mention it, and I'll go into a little more detail on it in my Substack tomorrow. But that's the idea of blocking. So anybody who's ever knitted will know this term. And if you've ever had a sweater that said to hand wash cold and dry flat, you'll understand the idea of blocking. But what it really is when you have something that's knit, you're helping those fibers stretch into the shape you want them to be while they're wet. And then trying to help them stay in that position as they dry. So it's that idea. And you can do that a bit with sweaters or knitwear that is, again, you can do it. We've probably done it with a t-shirt. Did you ever do it with a t-shirt that was like too tight in the boobs? I certainly did. You you spritz it with water and then you pull it down over your knees. To stretch it out just a little bit. But if you do this with clothes that are wet, and you either pin them in place or just make sure that if they're heavy enough, they just dry in that shape, you can get a little bit more give. It's like the way those things are knitted together, there's some little shift this way and that way, and you can just kind of massage the fibers of the fabric to make it a little bigger or a little narrower and longer by massaging the fabric. And it's called blocking. Knitters do this to sort of help all their knitting stitches settle before they sell them. The final knitted piece looks more even when they do that. But again, you can do that massage. Again, knit things, and to a degree, you can do that with jeans too. You've probably heard of people like who put their jeans on and get in the bathtub. I've not done that before, but if you're worried about your jeans shrinking up, if they're a perfect fit and you just don't want them to be any tighter after you go through the laundry, you wash them, you do not dry them, but you stretch them a little in the places that need it and then let them air dry, and that can help. And you can also, again, depends on the fabric, but a little, I keep a little vinegar water spray in my laundry room. Like 1 part vinegar to 7 parts water. Very dilute, but a little vinegar relaxes fibers. So I use it mostly for things that I take out that I left too long in the dryer and they're a little wrinkly. I'll just spritz them with that and I'll just kind of stretch them right into place again. But that also works for something that might be just a little too small in one spot, that you can just kind of spray it on there and just kind of encourage the fibers to move in the way that you wish them to. So again, not good for everything, but for certain things. I'm sorry, we took a tangent from asking me about when to go to a tailor. Let's see. We talked about winter coats or lined jackets.
Yeah.
I think things that are very bodycon, like, but don't have much stretch, like that's something that you might want to have tailored, just because a little gather here or there might not fix it for you. And if it's got lots of seaming already, that might be easier for a tailor to adjust. We talked about hems, but really if the hem edge needs to look really professional, if it requires that serging and top stitching, if you're shortening a lot, like more than an inch or two, or if you're altering the bottom shape of the leg, if you suddenly would like it to be narrower too, like all that, or the bottom of the garment, if you're changing the shape in addition to the length, then that also seems like a candidate for a tailor. Something that's too big all over, but worth it to you to spend the money on, like your shirt maybe. And again, expensive pieces, because it certainly can cost less to alter than to buy new for a very high quality item, really nice fabric. So those are probably your candidates for tailoring. And I would also say that I like to remember that there are all these people who, like me, for most of my adult life, went to thrift stores and never found clothes that fit me, who are maybe waiting for that item that you've got that doesn't fit you right. There's still not enough people making size inclusive clothing. So despite the current, I don't know, micro glut of things I'm seeing in the 18 to 20 range, or 18 to 24 range, there's a lot of people out there who are having trouble finding clothes that fit in those sizes, and especially who are looking for secondhand or discounted clothing. So I like to think that my little gifts back out into the thriftosphere are helping somebody, good karma all around, that somebody else is going to find their favorite new shirt that was your favorite old shirt. So I don't know if that's a
like
word, but I keep using it.
Yeah, we can make it. I think it should be a word to launch your Substack.
Okay.
But I also think it's important because I think a lot of people who have been in larger bodies, plus size, kind of have this like fear of I'm trying to lose weight, but what if I gain it back? And you kind of hold on to clothes. Um, and so I think it's important to, especially like professional women, it's really hard to find professional clothing plus sizes. So I totally support.
I still have at least one suit, like real suit that's in my closet. I haven't worn a suit in 800 years, but I have a suit in my closet that I haven't parted with yet. For that reason that it's hard to find very nice professional clothing in plus sizes. And also you're so right. Like I do think that I talked about this a little on my Substack this last week about that feeling of I did a pants purge. I went through all of my pants and jeans, and I didn't expect it to be like emotional, but there was a little. I mean, there is always a little bit of an emotional component when you're with women in their clothes, and I sort of, in addition to getting rid of like 26 pairs of pants that I didn't need, I also sort of mentally was like, I need to get rid of a couple of closet ghosts too. And that's this little, I think of them as like a golem sitting in my closet telling me, we needs our fat clothes. Oh, they're precious. Don't throw your fat clothes. You might need them again. And also, I also have this other image in my closet that's it's conflicted because I love the WNBA, but I have this image of a giant, a tall center, athletic, beautiful woman who's telling Gollum to shut the fuck up.
There you go.
But who's also saying, but girl, don't get rid of your gold clothes either. You got this. You can do this. You're on your journey. So I've got both of those people and both of those thoughts. And I just felt like I kind of needed to purge them too from my closet. Because the point is you need clothes that fit you right now. Then you need clothes that fit the body you are in. And you need to recognize that your body will change. All bodies change. Again, whether it's age or injury or illness or training or diet, all of those things, your body, we're all changing all the time. And so the point is you need clothes that you can wear out into the world now. You don't have to keep space for these things that do not fit you. Like certainly you can hold on to a piece or two for sentimental value, like maybe it's grandma's sweater or something. And you can certainly hold on to things that are practical and sort of on your plan. Like, I have a dress that's just a little too small, but I think I'm going to be there by this time next season. So I am holding on to that one. Will my boobs be in the same place? I don't know, but I'm holding on to that one. I'm not holding on to 20 of them. I do think you have to kind of grapple with those ghosts too. And it's also tied up in an identity. And someone, a friend of mine who was chatting about that Substack from last week had kind of said she'd hung on to clothes from her professional career. She'd had a big career change and she was still holding on to career clothes from like 3 years ago that she didn't not ever wear or need and weren't fitting anymore. But you're holding on to those because you think, well, maybe I'll be that person again, or I'll need to have those clothes again. But I think the point is you got to be who you are now. And if your job changes tomorrow, you're probably going to get to go shopping. Right? You can work in some other things, but for the time being, you've got to have clothes that fit you right now. And I don't know. I'm very keen on finding more, making my wardrobe be more opportunity, like where I feel like, oh, I really want to wear that again. As opposed to, oh, it's just like I go to my closet and I'm like, I'm not sure what to put on because I don't know what fits. I don't know what mood I'm in. I don't know whatever, kind of an emo dresser, but I think it's good to have a different way of thinking about your closet, that it is full of fun opportunities. So we're like, I totally want to wear this shirt tomorrow, and I totally want to wear that dress on Friday, and that sort of stuff. That you're you're loving the clothes that you have and knowing that they fit you now. So
it really helped me to like purge. And I looked at it as I'm creating space for new stuff. And it really made a big difference in my relationship to my clothes. I used to be very like spread, dress shopping. In fact, I got so frustrated buying clothes, didn't care where they were on a regular. And then now the clothes fit in really, it's small. I don't have a lot, but every other year there's something that fits me. Except for this.
that's your one
And
foot
then,
medal.
Right. And it all gives me joy.
Yeah.
And all of that makes a difference in my mindset and how I approach dressing. And I underestimated how much of a difference that could make.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we could have this conversation. Before we go, tell us about the Thick Thrift Diaries. How often do you plan to share something with us?
Yeah. So the Thick Thrift Diaries is a work in progress. I really did just start it in September, so it's only a few weeks old. I've posted a few more things at the outset just to get it going. My regular cadence I'm hoping for is roughly every other Thursday for a bigger, more thoughtful piece. Pieces I've done so far are just explaining what is thick thrifting and just the revelation it's been to me. And also my big pants purge. But every other Thursday, roughly, we should have. I'm trying to make this a thing. So help me with this hashtag, y'all. Thick Thrift Thursdays. So you look forward to
love
it.
it.
Love it. It's also a good moment to be like looking ahead to vintage and thrift fairs that are in the weekend that are coming, and sales times when people normally are shopping. So it might get you inspired for your weekend, either closet audit or thrifting run. But there will be lots to come. Hoping to do things like my thrift store hauls. You'll find what I bought and how I styled it, but also more think pieces about sort of what does this mean as a plus size lady navigating that, and just some really practical stuff too. Like, again, how do you alter things to make them last a little longer for you, or to make a not quite right fit you right now? And I've got one on my list that I'm very excited about. I'm hoping to get to this fall, which is experiments are underway, y'all. But its working title is That Smell, Though. Because if you're new to
The
thrifting
thrift store.
clothes, I have found there different stores have different aromas, but there's a lot of Gain here, people. A lot of people washing their clothes with Gain. There's a very heavy laundry scent, and it doesn't wash out in one wash with regular detergent. So I'm doing some experiments. I'm hoping to interview an expert who's kind of in my circle of people who knows far more about fabric care than I do about this. But I'm working through one of his tips now and trying it on some of my new finds to see how I can kind of get those artificial perfumey smells out of clothes that I'm buying. I'm not saying they're dirty, but they have perfume.
Yeah.
Your unstoppables are unstoppable, y'all. And also to be to be myself a better person who is putting clothing out into the thrift this year. I also don't want the clothes that I give to be carrying my own personal lavender scent, right? So how do I do that better to be kinder to the whole universe of people who A, don't like the same perfumes, or B, have skin allergies or sensitivities to that? And what can we do to be both kinder to our clothes and to each other as we do that? So those are a couple of things that I'm working on. I'm hoping to do some traveling too, to some thrift markets outside of where I am in Des Moines, Iowa. And so more to come on that. But